it's Greg here from Handcrafter's House. Today I'm going to show you how to basically quilt a quilt from start to finish on my Moxie with the Pro Stitcher Lite attached. So we're going to run through everything from loading, setting up your quilt space on the Pro Stitcher, quilting it out. We'll probably run out of the bobbin at one point, so I'll show you how to reposition and finish it off as well. So with that in hand, let's get straight into it. So we've got our quilt all ready to rock and roll. Got my quilt top and then my backing. And as you can see, my backing is larger than my quilt top because we have to pin it onto the frame and allow space for the pins and the machine to not hit. So we've got that extra space. And I've also got my wadding there as well. So with that, let's talk about how we're going to load it. So I'm just going to put my quilt top aside, and then we're going to look at how to load it onto our machine. I've only got a small backing piece here, so it makes it fairly easy, but it's the same concept with a larger piece. I get my backing piece, iron it, press it, and then I throw it over my frame. So then I'm dealing with my front edge along here. I then find my center of my backing piece right here, and then if you want to, you can chuck a pin in that to hold the place so you know where we're going. From there, I come to my backing pole. So I should mention we've got this machine set up in the low position. So our front pole is for our top, our quilt top, and our back pole is for our backing. Grab my pins. I found the center of my backing over here, and then I've also marked the center of my leader on the backing pole. So I know it's going to be lined up on this edge, and then also on the top back pole as well. So I put that first pin in. How I do it, I get my edge of my fabric, so we're going to have the right sides facing the floor, and then I get the edge of my leader and I line them up together. We see that? So I'm using the edge of the fabric as my guide. And then I grab a pin, and about 1/4 inch down, place a pin. And then I follow that all the way across. So a couple more pins over here. And then we're on to the next step, just like that. So it's not hard, it's just a few simple steps that you've just got to follow along. So I've now pinned my backing piece to my pole. So on the end, I want to close my ratchet. Right, so currently it's up, I want to put it down so that way it can't travel forward. So as it's turning, it's locking the mechanism. You always want to make sure it's nice and straight coming off. And then you're just twisting that pole. So this is where, if your backing has been torn and is nice and straight, this edge will always be lined up. And that is a great guide to make sure your backing is nice and straight as well. Get to the end, and then what you're going to do is find the center of the back again, of the top edge. So you probably want to do this before you've wound it on if you've got a large piece, because you won't be able to handle it all. But just because I've got a small piece, I was able to fold it. So that is the center of my backing piece. And now we're attaching it to our back leader. As you can see again, I've got a mark in my center, and then that is where I'm going to line that center pin up. Line that up, pin, pin. And notice again, I'm using that edge of the fabric, that selvage, with the edge of my leader as my guide. last one in the end. Beautiful. So just fluff it out a bit, get rid of those crinkles. And now you're going to lock in the back ratchet. So one at the back here on the back pole, lock that in. And then you're going to twist that back pole. What you want to watch out for is the leader crinkling up on the edges. So you just want to give it a little tug, get rid of those wrinkles. That way you're not going to have any folds or extra nasty bits in your backing. Put that there, lock it all in place. And that's our backing fabric ready to go. Isn't that awesome? Super easy. So next thing we need to do is get our quilt top. You wouldn't have had it on the floor like I did. Right, nicely ironed. Again, same concept. Throw it over the frame. Find your center. Now I'm going to pin it this time to our front bar because we're in the low position. If you've got your frame set up in the high position, it's going to be the other way around. So this way, the perks of having it in the low position is that this front bar is not in the way when you're using rulers, which we'll show you in another video, because this one's all about your Pro Stitcher Lite and quilting your edge-to-edge design from start to finish. And a few more pins this way. So having your quilt top loaded as well, make sure that it's all nice and straight as it's rolling on and being quilted. Because sometimes if it's not perfect, then you'll start to get wiggly lines on the edge of your quilt. So we've got that all there. Same concept. Roll it on, making sure your edges are lined up. Get rid of any crinkles that might happen. And there we go. That is our quilt top loaded. So once you've got your quilt top, we're missing one thing, which is our batting, which then goes in between. So with that, I just fold my quilt top out the way, get my batting and feed it through the bars. Then that goes all the way up to our top. And then I get my quilt top, bring it back around, and then have it lined up like that. So you want to leave a little bit of space between where your pins and the edges. All right, that way you're not going to run over any pins with your machine, which let me tell you is not good. And then we'll just lock that one back in place as well. And then we're ready to start quilting.